Hey, Chuck. Good morning. It's February 8th, which you know what? That's my mom's birthday today. She would have been 88 years old.
Oh,
And
happy
I can tell you,
posthumous
I was at
birth
church and I could feel her there today. She was really there. It made me happy.
That's
She's
wonderful.
always been a good presence in my life since she passed almost 8 years ago now.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I was like, hey, I'm recording an episode on my mom's birthday. So happy birthday, mom.
Happy birthday, mom.
Miss you desperately and glad you're out there with that. But, hey, it's Black History Month. February is always Black History Month.
And you know the
And
best
this
thing to
is,
do on Black History Month, Jim, is to post a racist video of a former president and his wife, and then
yeah.
pretend like you didn't do it. Pretend like one of your aides did it, and you didn't mean to. You just didn't.
And then say it's from The Lion King. The things I've seen on the whole thing was just like, you pulled up something that used Lion King footage. Well, The Lion King didn't have apes in it, didn't have flamingos. I mean, the video was, from an AI perspective, the video was silly and it could make you laugh. It was inappropriate, right? I'm not
Oh
gonna
my
say it
God,
was,
yes.
but it is a very curious time for us to see a president who creates a video of him flying over the Midas Touch, podcast folks and dumping poop all
Right?
over America on the No King's Day. Then he makes AI videos about his new sporting events coming to DC. So our president seems to like to do AI. So I start to wonder, is he even alive or is he just AI? All right, look, we've spent plenty of time talking about passports, exotic places, and the best get lost.
Most of the kids, Jim actually got us lost half the time.
Hey, it's called unplanned exploration. But look, eventually every traveler has to hit the package. And that's usually where the fun ends and reality hits you smack in the face.
I'm Chuck Longerbeam.
And I'm Jim Howe. We're both staring 60 in the face, and we've realized that the most important journey isn't across an ocean. It's the one where you finally stop worrying about who you're offending and start speaking your truth.
We're unpacking more than just suitcases now. We're talking about the big pivots, reinventing your life and your career at an age when society thinks we should just be quiet and pick up pickleball.
Not happening, Chuck. And we're going to talk about this country. But we're done with this left versus right, blue versus red food fights. It's exhausting. We're going to talk about right versus wrong.
Basically, we're applying common sense to a world that seems to have run out of it. We're keeping it authentic, unfiltered, and knowing us, probably a little bit loud.
Hey, we're two guys who have seen enough to have an opinion, and we're finally sharing it. No filters, no labels, just real talk.
The bags are on the carousel, and let's be honest, half of them are probably lost. Are you ready to claim what's yours?
Let's get this journey started.
Well, and you made a good point. And the one thing that you can always count on this White House is to both take no responsibility for something and make the most asinine excuses for it simultaneously. And let's just say there had been apes in the Lion King.
It
If
still would
you
be
made
broken.
the Obamas those apes, it's still absolutely racist and ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's blatant racism. This isn't even just a oops racism. I mean, sometimes
Yeah.
oops happens. I get it. You didn't mean it. This is blatant. I mean, and this guy is clearly, I think some of it's the dementia. I think some of
Mhm.
it's his mind. He thinks things are okay that aren't okay.
Yes. Well, it's like when Caroline
And
Levitt
yes,
said,
the jockeying around by the press secretary and everybody else to come up with reasons why it was okay is
right.
probably what's most disturbing.
So there's always a fine line in everything,
Right.
but I miss the days when politicians literally had to be careful lest they ruin their careers over things. And when I say there's a fine line, and we all remember when Howard Dean went, and lost everything. And now looking back, I'm like, that's the worst he did. I mean, not him, but I'm saying that,
Yeah.
but that ruined his presidential run. And now we've got
Right.
Donald Trump posting blatantly racist things about a former president and then saying, and then being like, I don't care. And then we get enough pushback saying, well, some aide did it. I didn't even do it.
Well, I mean, the thing I struggle with is our presidents used to be cut from a better grade of cloth, right? They were of higher moral fiber. They were of better decision making. And I'm sure that in the confines of the Obama White House, the Bush White House, the Clinton White House, there were jokes that went on. And I'm sure they were made behind the scenes and off the cameras, right? Out of public eye. This guy doesn't care what anybody thinks anymore. Even our best lame duck presidents never did it.
So you said something very interesting. I agree with you 100%, but put a little tweak on it. I was in education for 20 years, and I worked very tough kids. And absolutely, Jim, there was a lot of black humor, dark humor, whatever you want to call it, around that. And most of it was for our mental health. So we didn't, sometimes like you hear about cop humor and things
Yeah,
like that. Sometimes you have to joke about horrific things or really hard things. Otherwise,
absolutely.
you internalize it and it becomes. But I think the difference with Trump between the first Trump administration, even though he did shit then, and the second Trump administration, and you and I've talked about this before, is like let's use let's use a right and a left. Well, let's go Obama and let's go George W. Bush. Okay, fair. They both served 8 years. One was liberal, one was conservative. The difference is I believe, yeah, of course, do I believe there were jokes that George W. Bush's White House had jokes about Democrats and vice versa? Of
Well,
course.
Clinton said they took all the W's off the keyboards before he
Right,
got shit. I mean,
right, during the
we've
transition.
heard these jokes, right?
Right.
This
So these things exist and that's fine. But I think the difference is that because politics was transactional and it was self-policing, for lack of a better term, they would surround themselves with people who would be like, Jim, that's really funny, but don't ever say that out loud, sir.
right.
That's really going to hurt your
Things your
career and
friends do
everybody
when you're in a
else.
room and you make that mistake.
Right.
Go,
But I'm saying,
don't ever say it again.
right, but you say it out loud and everybody laughs and giggles and they're like, you should never say that anywhere out of this room, right? And it's like, oh yeah, would you think that hurt me politically? Oh my God, would that hurt you politically? Okay, cool. Trump doesn't have that. It's very, very clear that he has surrounded himself with people who not only are not ever going to correct him, but
They're all
are
affirming. They affirm everything he does is good.
right, but they're staying close to power by agreeing with everything. And if you
Yeah.
don't believe that, look at Tulsi Gabbard. So Tulsi Gabbard was well known to have been out of the loop for a long time. She had pissed Trump off, not bad enough for him to get rid of her because she hadn't done anything. How can I say this? She hadn't not done something he wanted done. Like Jeff Sessions or somebody like that. If you don't do what he wants, he kicks you out. Otherwise, he just forgets you. But then now there's just like the thing in Georgia, which is a pretext to taking over the, if you look at the things that Trump promised to deliver on, he has delivered on none of them. The
Better
inflation,
economy, lower prices.
I was going to say inflation's about what it was a year ago when Trump took over. Prices are higher. Fuel prices are higher. They just, with that big, beautiful bill, they just gutted Medicaid and not Medicaid, ACA, and people's, premiums are going out of sight.
2, 3,
He's
4
not
times.
being America first because he keeps talking about taking Greenland and with the Venezuela thing and if we annex Canada. So he's not doing anything he wants, anything he said he was going to do and what people voted for him for. So no matter how delusional he is and the people around him, he knows his polls are tanking. So
As do his supporters who are starting to.
well, MAGA is
The
splintering.
rats are jumping off the ship little by little.
Well, MAGA is splintering, absolutely. But rather than making moves quickly, I mean, because any decent politician, the American people, we're fickle. We're fickle and we have short memories. If he were to, whatever this is, if he were to come up with some way to fund the ACA or suddenly go, you know what, we're going to do Medicare for all, which even Republicans would whine about, but as soon as they realize that their premiums went down, they're going to go, oh, okay. Somehow, get prices down, stop this stupid tariff war, look inward and stop this nonsense about Greenland and taking over Canada and all that. If come October, prices were down, tariffs were gone, and things were good, I don't think the Republicans would get shellacked in November and he might lose one house, but not both. But instead of doing that, they're going to figure out a way to rig the election or to cause problems with the election.
That's the scariest thing is that he's so blatant, obviously forecasts everything. I laugh when I think back to things Kamala Harris said during the campaign for all forecasts of where we were going, of him, what he was doing. And everybody just said, nah, it's not going to happen. It's not, no way. And here we are. But there's good news on some of this front as well, right?
Do tell, Jim.
So Texas, of all places, Texas, the reddest state there probably is, other than maybe Florida, had a big upset last night with, or this week. There, the race where Lee Wamsganass, whatever her name is, the big ass of Texas. She lost her seat by well over, was it 20-some points, which was a seat that Trump helped get over with like 17 points, right?
It was like a 30-point swing.
She lost it to a Democrat. And I think that is a sign. I think there's something going on.
Well, you're right. If you look at every special election
Oh yeah,
since Trump took office, Democrats
Democrats
have
are
won.
jumping everywhere. The numbers are going
Democrats
up.
have won heartily. I live in
Even if
Virginia.
they don't win the seat, they're getting better presentation, right? So like they're
Right.
gaining 20 points everywhere, right? I mean, it's pretty
Right.
straightforward.
But right now, a year ago, so Trump took office a year and 3 weeks ago, give or take.
Isn't it 2 already? Shit. We got 3 more of this?
Yeah. So, but this time last year, if we had said that a Democrat was not only going to win in Texas, but win by, if you take what like you said, President Trump won by like 17 and he won by something. It was like almost a 30-point swing.
Yep.
Everybody, all pundits, even Democratic pundits would have laughed in your face.
Yeah.
And here we
Okay,
are.
they don't even have a game plan in Texas for how to win a Democratic seat because they haven't done it in so long. It's generational.
Right. Well, didn't a Democrat? I'm going to get this wrong, but didn't I see in passing yesterday the Democrat won in Louisiana yesterday too?
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 of the midterm races that have gone on. They've gone to Democrats.
Who the hell would have thought Texas was in play? And now it is.
I think Texans would tell you, especially folks that live in the blue centers like Dallas and Austin and the places where you're not out in the country.
Right.
Well, would tell you that, yeah, there's a big push. There's a lot of blue in this state, but you're getting overridden by where there's money and small. The way the state's gerrymandered, it kind of changes things,
Well, that's what's funny. They got gerrymandered, and then what they didn't. No, they were talking about how they redistrict and redistricted.
And that's how this seat came up.
Right, in Texas, and then they redistricted somewhere else, and I can't remember where. But what they didn't plan on is when they redrew them, Trump and MAGA have lost. They've gotten like -20 on the black vote, like -40 on Hispanic vote. They're losing Republican votes. They're losing independents right and left. So even though they redrew these districts thinking it was a lock to get 6 more seats, what Texas shows us is it ain't a lock. And I was listening to somebody, I think it was Brian Taylor Cohen, who was saying that he did the math. And if this stays, like it's not, but if this swing stays all the way until November, it looks like the Democrats could pick up 30 seats in the House. Now, it probably won't happen that way. But if they pick up 20.
Yeah, it's promising. I mean, it's that glimmer of hope you want to see on the horizon, right? And the interesting thing is, I already hear people saying, I'm going to keep Texas red. I had responded to somebody in Facebook who posted that. I said, why is it keep Texas red and not find the right leaders? And this is like part of the core of our show, right? I don't care if they're red or blue or pink or green or purple, right? I want the right leaders, the best leaders in charge. Folks that know how to stand on good morals, who know how to stand on good decisions, who know right from wrong, and are doing the best for the people. And so that leads me to the excitement I have over Tallarico and his campaign and the traction that's getting. The man he's pretty much a fundamentalist but progressive Christian, right? So he's out there, he believes in Christianity, he puts it as part of his campaign, but he also says flat out, he will not push his religion down your throat. He has no desire to go out and tell a Muslim they have to believe what he believes or to tell a Buddhist or anything. He said he believed very strongly in the separation of church and state. And my favorite quote from him is, the government is not who we should be afraid of. They should be afraid of us. I'm thinking to myself, there was a time when the government was afraid of us,
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's like, this is going to be weird to say, but he reminds me of a straight Pete Buttigieg.
Oh, yeah.
And
he's young and he's vibrant. He's like, this is like the Obama coming, right? It's like, you see these guys, you see, this is the future.
But he's quiet and well-spoken, and the things he says, no matter who you are, make you go,
I mean, he was delivering a patriotic speech, right? It was very much about, we love our neighbors. We welcome the immigrant. I'm thinking, wow, that is not a Republican message, right?
No,
but he used to be very much on that side, and he's changing it, right?
Right.
And I think that this is the reality that needs to be heard. And he might be able to bring that religious vote back to reality, right? That white Christian fundamentalism is not this country's religion.
Well, and I know, I mean, we could not debate, or we could talk about this for 3 hours. We know where it came from. But there was a belief in this country until somebody came down a gold-colored escalator and started talking about rapists and murderers, but some, I assume, are good people. And I'm not blaming it all on him. It was before that. But there used to be a belief in this country that diversity of background made this country stronger.
We were the melting pot. And I'm not trying to worry about terms. I know we've shown the terms of
No, the melting pot, you're right. But I'm saying
we were the melting pot for a reason. And melting pot to me wasn't negative. It was about bringing all the best of everything together to come up with a better product.
No, the Great American Melting Pot was a positive when that was being used. And
it got turned into a negative in the woke
now all of
Right.
a sudden it's nativist and it's like, and I don't know if you ever watched those. I don't know if you ever watched those Jubilee things on TikTok. You ever so there's this company called Jubilee. It's like one conservative versus 20 liberals, and I don't know if you've seen it. There are a bunch
No.
of them. Mehdi Hassan has done one. Sam Cedar has done one. But what they do is they put a table in the middle, and it's almost like and there's a
Oh, I
ton.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So and then there's a group of there's people sitting around them who disagree with them basically, and they take
Yep.
turns, and a lot of it's gotcha and all of that. But I was watching the TikTok clip came across my thing, and so Mehdi Hassan was talking to this gentleman, and he was talking about this, and the guy's like, no, whites were here, first. We were here for, and all this, and we're the natives and everything else. And he goes, what? And he goes, well, yeah, my family's come over in like 1500 or something like that. And he goes, what was going on before 1500? And the guy goes, well, no. And he goes, was someone else not here? And he goes, well, yeah, indigenous people. And Mehdi Hassan was like, do you know what indigenous means? Like, and it wasn't a gotcha. It was, you can see, I don't care how you feel about Mehdi Hassan, but he's an amazing debater, no matter what you think. But no, you can see the look on his face, like, do you not give me, and the guy's like, well, I mean, so he's like, no, white people are not indigenous
That-
to
But
this
see, that's this.
country.
It's this lack of knowledge that has started to show its head, right? It's like in the process of us all becoming interconnected and interwebbed and interneted, we've also become dumb. There's things that aren't taught.
Yes. Well, I mean, you've
need.
got what, 380 million people in this country, and you want to talk about who was here first? We're celebrating our 250th anniversary of this country being this country. And let's add, 150 years before that was 1620. Let's call it, official, the
Yeah.
official history. Let's call it 1620. So 150 years before that. And so we're at, let's call it 400 years. And you want to talk about who was first at this point? Like, come on. Like we are who we are. We are the strongest
Are
country
you
in the
telling me that
world.
Adam and Eve's offspring didn't come to America as white children and start it all?
All right, Jim.
Damn it, I got it all wrong again.
All right, Jim. But yeah, no, I mean, it's just that whole argument just blows my mind of we were here first. It's like, and then of course, the next question is like, okay, who built all this stuff? Well, that's the blacks that we brought over here.
Right.
The,
And the Chinese and the Japanese.
no, first it was black people from Africa and the
Mhm.
Caribbean, and then it was the Chinese to build the railroads, and then all of that. And then of course, anytime anything goes wrong, we go Jim Crow, or we go Japanese internment camps, or we have Alligator Alley and all of that. So anytime anything goes wrong, we're not gonna put a bunch of white people away, even if they deserve it. We're going to look for the people of color, and that we're going to vilify them, because even 250 years later of being a country, official country, we're still doing that same shit. And that
Well, that's interesting, right?
blows
'Cause
my mind.
we don't, we've had several black folks die at the hands of police and government and everything else. Very puffy, things known like George Floyd. And we don't react as well as we should. We get upset for a minute. Black folks got real upset. They went to the streets. They did everything they should do. We should have all been out there saying that, right? But you go shoot Alex Preddy, and now all of a sudden everything in the world's up in arms, right? Though it's like, okay, guys, it's not really much different, but it is. I get it, right? But yeah, just give a rule.
Well, it's interesting you said that, because this has been bugging me lately. So you and I had talked about this, and there's almost never one thing, but bear with me. The main thing that changed the civil rights argument in this country, well, there are two things. There was Emmett Till's mother making the just absolutely ballsy decision to put his picture in the paper with his face all bloody and everything else. But the other thing that really changed everything is when the white college kids got on buses and went to the South, and there were pictures on TV or in the newspaper of cops putting dogs and spraying water on good-looking, well-dressed white kids. And that's when we white folks lost our shit. What has changed is interesting. You're 100% correct, but there's a little tweak to this. Yeah, when George Floyd was killed, all they could do is victim shame. All they could do, and when I say all, I mean everybody was like, well, he was a felon, and well, he was passing a counterfeit $20 bill, because evidently that is enough to kill a black person in this country and be justified. Now what's happened is very, very strange. And that's comfortable white folks, and I mean middle-class white folks, saw Preddy get killed in the street, and they're like, whoa, a bridge too far. But the difference, the change is the Trump administration immediately started victim blaming, and they were looking for anything.
And they tried hard to discredit him. Oh, he had a gun. Oh, he was out the week before doing this. I mean, it's like,
Right, right. He was out protest. Yeah, okay, he was out protesting, which, as far as I'm aware, is still a fucking First Amendment right. But yeah, no. Then he was brandishing a gun. No, he wasn't. He was carrying a gun. Well, they got scared, took the gun, and shot him. Wait a minute, what?
They didn't take
I
his gun and shoot him.
no, I have friends who are police officers and professional police officers on TV and all that are like, that's not a thing. No, you don't have a man prone on the ground with
And I'm
six
going to go
officers
back
around.
to you shoot, good cops. And I actually talked to my friends this week who a friend of mine
Mhm.
who's a cop and his wife. And I said, I asked him, I said, good cops fire once, right? And they don't really want to even do that. He goes, yeah, we don't even want to fire the first.
Well,
So we don't fire 7 times.
here's what drives me you're 100% correct, and I started thinking about this too because, I hate it, but you still see the video. I mean, we need to see it, but I mean, I've
Yes.
seen it enough times to be very clear of what happened. But the other thing is, you ask any cop, I don't care, from a county deputy up to
Yep.
somebody who's been in the FBI for 30 years, counter whatever, they're all going to tell you that a police officer does not shoot a perp on the ground when there are 5 other policemen standing around, because the other policeman could get hit too.
Right.
Now it's not the safety of the police officer. And again, you and I talked about this. I'm a simple guy. If he had been brandishing a gun, walking across the street, and they had shot him down, fine. We still need to look at it. We still need, we need the specialist to come in and make sure that it was a clean shoot and everything else. But if you're brandishing a gun at a police officer and you get killed, maybe that's on you. I mean, seriously. I mean,
You're proving an intent to potentially
right,
shoot, right? I mean, so
right. And
defend that. It's offensive.
right. So in that case, yes, I'm a police officer. I'm not. I'm saying, if I'm a police officer and I risk my life every day and I'm in a situation like that and I see somebody approaching me brandishing a gun, yes, I feel
Fully
justified.
support, and I would fully support the police
Yes.
officer
Yes,
defending
there needs to be an investigation, because there's always an investigation.
Right.
But if that police officer was found to be not guilty or in self-defense, I'd be like, you did your job, sir. You
Right,
did your
right.
job, ma'am. That's fine. But
Yeah, that
no,
was a
you can't.
cold-blooded killing on
Yeah,
prejudice.
but
There
I
was
got
no way
a phone in my hand and a gun on my hip. I never touched the gun. You take the gun from me and then shoot me 10 times. I don't even. Yes, there needs to be an investigation, because that's SOP, but you really don't. I mean, come on. But they
Yeah,
immediately started victim blaming. He was brandishing a gun. And I
yeah.
love the fact that the Second Amendment people are freaking out. I don't know if you realize this. After Trump said you shouldn't bring a gun to, the thing, the NRA came out against him. They didn't name him specifically, but we know exactly what they were
They
talking
pretty much called out the fact that you have the right to bring that gun.
right. And
I
when
think the
you're
people were like, "Well, what this press secretary? Well, he shouldn't have brought a gun to a public event." It's like, okay, if not, then why?
well, and did you hear Janine Pirro, was it last week, I think, said, if you bring a gun to DC, you're going to jail, and good luck getting your gun back. And now she's walking it back and she goes, well, I meant illegally. And it's like, no, you didn't. You were very clear. Here's
Well,
my
and
thing.
I've
We
seen
live in a,
several people out there post and say, if you didn't think Trump was coming with your guns, he is now.
right. Well, that's the thing. If you don't think we live in an alternate universe, when was the last time you ever heard the NRA chastise a Republican president? Never, 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 ever, never. And then
I
they're
mean,
like,
in a way, I look at all this and say, God, they're just setting themselves so well for a failure. I mean, there's just,
well, but
I
that's
don't,
what.
you could find the best Republican on the planet to run. I don't think anybody could win at this.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. But what they're doing then is like
Then
the
they'll
thing.
nullify the election.
Right. Well, either they're gonna, and what they're setting it up, and that's why he sent. Everybody's like, well, he sent her Tulsi Gabbard to Georgia because he's still obsessed with 2020, which he is. But that's not what this is about. They're going to say it's just like, and let's not let the Epstein files die. There are roughly 3 million more. That's their numbers, but there are
Yeah.
roughly 3 million more pieces that need to come out. Well, I find it very interesting that the lion's share of people that this 3 million dump made look bad were Democrats. There were some. I mean, Trump doesn't look good. Bannon doesn't look good. Musk doesn't look good. Ludnick doesn't look good. But in general, I mean, everybody's focusing on Bill Gates and Bill Clinton and all of this stuff. I said it once, I'll say it again. Anybody who is found to have harmed a child or trafficked a child needs to be put away forever. I don't give a fuck if you have an R, a D, an
Amen.
I, a P, a
Amen.
J, what beside your name. You need to go bye-bye. But it's
Yeah.
interesting because this is Trump's DOJ, who's already they're still being unlawful. They were supposed to, what was the first one? December something, it was supposed to all come out.
Yeah.
And they still have 3 million. What do you think? What do you think are in those 3 million they've held back, Jim? My guess is more Republicans. Because what? Why? I mean, if I'm a disingenuous DOJ and I'm trying to make my president not look bad, I'm going to dump the Democrat stuff first.
Well, I do love that Trump's out there saying, I didn't know the guy. I'm like, wow, talk about being deranged, right? And then, oh, well, all the files have shown that I'm not guilty. They had it out for me. Epstein was out to get me. I'm like, whoa, dude, you're putting fuel on a fire that's just going to explode at one point, right? And I think timing wise, it's coming.
So there are more pictures of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein together than there are trans athletes in the NCAA.
There you go.
And somebody ran it through AI. God love him. Donald Trump is mentioned more times in the Epstein files than Harry Potter's name is mentioned in all 7 Harry Potter books.
Wow. Hey, while we're talking stats, let's take a minute to talk about the channel.
Hit me, baby.
So we've had it's been a great season 2 already. We're on episode 5, and I want to thank everybody for joining us on this ride. Because let me tell you, the roller coaster started last year when we had our little hiccup, and we decided to change course. We're glad you're here with us. And the metrics, the numbers, we're loving it. We've gotten a good bump. We still would love to see folks subscribe. It would really help us out. But we're seeing improvements. What's that?
Do it. Do it.
Just do it. Costs you nothing to click that like and subscribe button. And we don't overdo it with you. We don't have to set a lot up, but we could use the help. We're trying to build this.
We're trying to get a private jet
to share, right? And we think we have something good to share. You've shown us you like it, and we want your comments. We want you to get engaged. We've got a community going on Facebook that you can get into. I did update the website this week. Live at the Baggage Claim is finally caught up. So, I mean, we thank you for the time you have given us. As you can tell, we're trying to build better short content and other things for you. We're putting our faces on stuff because we want to be identified as what we're saying too. We're not afraid of this.
Absolutely.
But thank you. We'll be a year in May, right?
I think it was May.
Yeah, May.
Isn't that awful?
And a lot has happened in this time. And without supporters like those of you watching right now, we wouldn't be doing this. And you give us the courage, the energy, and the want to go forward. And whenever we get a comment or we get a subscriber or we see our views go up, we pee ourselves a little and get kind of excited.
It's like Christmas morning. It's like somebody come in.
Yeah. So we appreciate you. Just want to take a minute to break on that. Like, subscribe, please do it now. Your mother will thank you. My mother will pray for you.
There you go. So Jim, as with all things, my ADHD got us completely off track. But you had started talking about Melania, the Melania movie. You had said about that.
Well, so last week we put a lot of energy into Melania's movie. We put more energy than she did into it. But that's another story. So, we talked about Melania pocketed $28 million. Bezos put up another $48 million. All right. So I wish I had a drum roll I could play right now because the numbers are just insane. So the showing went out to 2003 theaters, right? Opening week box office take was 13 million or 13.5 million, right? That comes down to $6,700 per theater. You know where she ranks? Have all-time domestic box office rank out of 5,200, 5,194.
Okay, so not the bottom.
Out of all-time international ranks, 19,144 out of a possible 19,200. And all-time worldwide box office records, 7,400 out of 75. So our first lady, who's now backpedaling that it was a documentary, it was supposed to be a piece about art and music, has once again proved that when you put the Trump name on something, it gets a orange tinge and a bad smell.
Yeah, and it was interesting, and I don't know if this is true, but I read somewhere that that somebody took like a snapshot poll, if you will, and that most of the people who attended this movie were women over 65, which you get, and that's and please understand that's not a bad thing, that's not a good thing.
Not all the people in Boston who got paid $50 a seat to go up.
You're right. I'm just saying. Most people over 65 are going to vote Republican any damn way. That was the other thing we were talking about, the swings and everything else. Trump is like 45 points underwater with Gen Z. And guess who's going to
be he doesn't understand them and they don't understand him. That's
but I'm saying, they're the ones who are going to be running the country in 20 years and he's already lost them. But yeah,
I think this is the same game when Obama came to power, right? We had seen age starting to creep in and the right was so we always see this way. I mean, it's nice to know it still happens, that we haven't lodged the pendulum over here somewhere.
Right.
So we get a swing. So things will change. And I think that's the hope for me. That's I look forward and say, this too shall pass. This is not I can't fight this whole fight.
Right.
I can fight what I can because it will change. And I look at folks like Tallarico and I go, that guy's a young, hot, sexy, well-spoken candidate to be a future presidential run.
Mhm.
And I would support him all the way
Yeah,
to the
I
top.
feel the same way about Buttigieg. I mean,
Yeah,
Buttigieg is
well,
like,
Buttigieg is like my boy, right? I mean,
no, I
obviously,
know, but I mean,
we're all
Buttigieg is
gay.
like,
We got to. It's like you get a contract as you must support. I want my microwave, and damn it, I'm doing everything I can to get my points.
there you go. But no, yeah, but he's like in his early 40s, I think. I mean, he's still a young cat. I mean,
His comments have been so well done. He's like, when he comes out to say something, it's prepared, it's organized, and it hits and it goes in. And it's a
well,
deep hit.
Trump pretends like and will tell you to your face that he's the smartest person in the room, and Buttigieg is. Like
Right.
when Buttigieg speaks, you're like, so people don't know me except by doing this, but my wife and I were having a conversation this morning, and she was having some emotions about some family thing that we don't need to talk about. But my superpower has always been, and it's like with all superpowers, it's a double-edged sword. My superpower has always been that I can literally access the logical part of my brain and see nothing but logic. Like I can turn off, I'm a very emotional person, but when I'm looking at a situation, I can go completely dispassionate and completely logical. Right or wrong, bad or good, left, right, whatever. If someone is dynamic as a speaker, I appreciate that. I am liberal, but Buttigieg impresses me. There have been Republicans who are like that, who impress me. Tallarico. There are others when I love a good orator. I love someone who can think quickly on their feet, and
Command of the language, ability to speak,
right. And I
the
don't
fact
care.
that you can speak without having to throw everything into some strange emotion and make weird noises. Can we just talk
Right.
about this right now?
Oh God. All right, Jim. I'm going to go base for just a moment. Did he shit himself the other day? Did you see that?
I would put money on it.
Yeah, me too. Okay, me too.
I
Well,
don't think
Jim,
that's the first time either.
no, God, no. Well, Jim, we were talking about Melania. Well, we'll stay on the scatological shit in the bed with her,
All that
documentary.
good scatological commentary.
Yeah, her documentary / vanity project / bribe. But beyond all of that, there are people who have come out of that, even people who were fans, so to speak, of Trump, and been like, really wasn't a documentary. It was like there was nothing to it. But whatever, you
Well, look,
know.
there's nothing to Melania.
Right. Well, thank you. I mean, all right. So did you see did you see the meme that the Lincoln Project put out about her?
No.
So this is so wrong. I should
You're
not
gonna have
laugh
to
at
put it
this.
up in the podcast. You're gonna have to share it when you put the edit together.
Okay, I will. I shouldn't laugh at this, but it made me laugh so hard. So it says Melania, and it's her like sitting, not suggestively, but like lounging, and it says make fuck, get green card.
Well,
And I was like,
no, the truth is not far from that statement.
no, it's not at all. Not at all. But one of the things that we've made it fun, that the right has been made fun of lately, and they like to spin this and say that it's a good thing. But whenever they're trying to amass celebrities to support them, the celebrities they get are kind of laughable.
No.
Well, I'm just saying, on the left, you get Clooney and you get this person and that person and Billie Eilish and you name it, they all line up. On the right, you get
Taylor Swift.
On the right, you get Jim Brewer, was actually a good comedian until he lost his mind.
Hulk Hogan.
You get Rob Schneider, literally. What's that?
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan. You get Rob Schneider, who really would never work if he wasn't buddies with Adam Sandler. And you get Kid Rock.
Oh, gosh.
Who, let's be honest, and all jokes aside, take politics out of it. I am a hardcore music fanatic. I love all styles of music. Kid Rock has not been relevant for 20 years. Musically. Like he had his moment with I'm the Bull God and Ball to the Ball and all that kind of stuff. And he had his moment. Like he was that late 90s, early 2000s?
Yep.
Like, he had his moment. But he has not been relevant for 20 years. The only reason he's relevant is because he goes on Fox News and says dumb shit. Like, after he had the issue with Bud Light and then wearing a Budweiser hat, and the lady's like, "You're wearing Budweiser." He goes, "I don't know what hat I have on." Well, he's supposed to do this white people halftime show, but he's also doing a tour with Ludacris and a bunch of other people, and they were supposed to play, I think it's South Carolina.
Is Ye on that too? Is Ye on that tour as well?
No, I don't think Ye's on that one. But I think it's in July in South Carolina. Everyone has pulled out. Everyone. Wow. It's like the country music tour thing. So, and it's so funny too, because Jim had forgotten this. We were talking about this before this, but I think it was last year he was in Las Vegas. Kid Rock was playing in Vegas. And there's a clip of it, and it's real. It's not AI. And the audience wasn't clapping for him as clapping along like he wanted them to. So he threw a hissy fit and left early. So here's a guy who's not relevant. JD Vance skewers Zelensky for not wearing a suit in the Oval Office. And then Kid Rock shows up wearing, a bastardized version of the American flag, which, by the way, I'm an Eagle Scout. I was a Boy Scout for years. I do believe in the American flag. And if you're going to use it properly. And you are not supposed to do that in any way, shape, or form. So all you quote unquote patriots are running around here with flag t-shirts and all that. You are desecrating the flag. Look it up.
Yeah, it has to be in full context. You cannot.
Right. These idiots and these idiots around here, I don't know about where you are, but have these huge American flags off the back of their trucks and everything else. That's desecrating it. And by the way, if you've got a flag in your front, just a little helpful FYI, folks, if you got a flag in your front yard that you're flying all the time, if it's not lit 24/7, you're wrong. So look it up before you tell me you're a patriot.
I mean, I have one that I have the Texas, the U.S., and I have a gay pride flag out front. Not right now, but I did. And I have lights aimed at them that, my landscape lighting hits them. So they just have to be shown that they're lit up.
That's fine. Yeah, either take it down
and there's an order to putting them up and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
There's etiquette that people don't think about in general. The way you treat the symbols of our country.
Right.
That is a whole other episode we could get into that veterans would be.
Right. And long before Trump came along, it's always frustrated the hell out of me where all these, these I'm American and everything else. And it's like, but you're not taking the flag that you're screaming that no one should be able to burn or use any way they want or whatever. You're not even doing it right. You're supposed to put it up at sunrise, take it down at sunset, fold it into a football. Right. There's a way to carry it. You're supposed to store it a certain way. Or like Jim said, if you've got a light on it 24/7, you can leave it out there. Yep. But these people are not doing it the right way at all. And then going, I'm more American than you. Like, no, you're not, because I know how to deal with the American flag. Anyway, sorry. But
it's one of those things that, my dad was very much about teaching me how to manage and deal with the flag.
Yes.
And I remember clearing out his garage after he moved and after he died and finding boxes of flags because, it's very hard. You're not just you can't throw a flag out. That's
there is
take flags to a veteran's office and they will deal with it. Or you can, there's ceremonies. I think I've buried one. Maybe you can bury them or something. Well, there's a way to do it, right?
Right. Well, there's a whole ceremony where you're supposed to literally take it apart in certain ways. You're supposed to shred it in certain ways along certain lines. There's a whole, you're right. There is if you've got just as a public service announcement, you got a flag, you can usually take an American Legion or someplace like that. And they will have a team who disposes of American flags properly. But I'll bet you these assholes that their flags get tattered and torn. I bet you they're throwing them in the dumpster. I mean, so. Yeah.
And then they'll say they don't want them burned, but they just threw it out. I mean,
so get it right or don't leave it in my face. I have
4 or 5 flags in the garage, and they're all folded properly because they're not being used, and they're in a plastic box. So they don't get dirty.
And that's absolutely fine. But yeah, don't wave it in my face and then not display it properly, please. Yeah. Not you. You know what I mean?
See, but this is just the whole thing. I mean, so speaking of being booed, I think it was hilarious that Vance, who's going to have 2 children, I think, right? He's going to have his wife's child, he's going to have his child, and then this other person he slept with, I don't know.
Sure.
But he got booed out of the Olympics, which I think is just hilarious.
Well, you see
it does. I mean, if you could give him a couch, he'd probably get better views on OnlyFans.
Well, did you see he was interviewed by someone this week and they said, are you going to apologize to Preddy's family? And he goes, for what? And they said, you called him an assassin and everything else. And he goes, well, no, I said he was there. He was up to no good and da-da-da-da. And it's like, the only good thing is, unless I completely miss my mark, and I don't think I do on this one, when Donald Trump is let's just say, oh, God, it gives me chills saying this. Let's say Donald Trump finishes out and doesn't run again and doesn't try to run again in 2028 because he'll be 82 years old, 83 years old. Let's say Vance pardons him so he can ride off into the sunset and then just. Not a lot of people know this, but in 2016. Trump filed with the FCC for Trump Television. He did not think he was going to win in 2016. And you can tell if you go back and look at election night in 2016, he was shocked. Pence's wife, Pence's wife slapped the piss out of him and said, look what you did to us. You got what you finally wanted. Melania didn't want any part of it. Anyway, Trump was doing that to make money. Big shock. But he was going to start Trump TV and like fight with Fox basically, or fight Fox for numbers or whatever. So anyway, he'll probably do that in 2028, and then he can just go on and ramble about
Anything like Truth Social will go for so far, then it'll just pay
right. That's
off.
me. He'll get on and he'll swerve and talk his nonsense, and people, the true believers will. The good news is, I truly believe, against lest I miss my mark, JD Vance is the Ted Cruz of the White House. And what I mean by that, nobody likes Ted Cruz. You listen to people in Congress and they'll tell you they don't. I mean, Republicans don't like Ted Cruz. They work with him because they have to, but they don't like him. He's a fairly repugnant human being. JD Vance has the charisma of my bottle of water here. It really does. Now I take that back because this bottle of water has a use.
He's the charisma of a couch.
Couch fucker. But yeah, but I mean, he does not have, I don't think he has the backing of the Republican Party. And again, I use this term, I hate to use it, but to at least Trumpies, Trump has charisma and he has, he has way. JD Vance doesn't. And I think if Vance runs in 2028, unless the Democrats put up just an absolute moron.
Yeah, if they run Biden against him, maybe.
But that's the other thing. I'm going to say this, and I've said this before, and I mean it. I was not a huge fan of Joe Biden. I wanted Biden to win in 2020.
Yep.
He was not my first choice, but when he became the candidate, I wanted Joe Biden to win for two reasons. First of all, I wanted him to beat Donald Trump. I was so sick of Donald Trump. I needed a break.
Yep.
Second of all, I called it, and I'm not saying I'm some sort of prognosticator or anything like that. I knew that the Biden administration would be milquetoast. And I think after 4 years of Trump, we needed milquetoast. Unfortunately, I don't think any of us realized how far along Biden was. And maybe he wasn't. Maybe the first 2 years.
I think he failed quickly. I think
That's what I'm saying.
his stint went down fast. And I think that's just pure proof of the burden of the office of president.
Right.
Look at every president who's made 8 years. They don't come out. Obama don't look so young now, right? He don't look so young. He's doing good. They all get really old in 8 years.
Yeah, if you look at pictures of
tremendous amount of pressure on your life.
Right, because George Bush was in his early 50s, I guess. And if you look at him on Inauguration Day, first one, and then the day he left office, that brother aged 20 years in 8 years.
Yeah, they all do.
And I get it.
Every one of them.
It's a 24/7 job, and it's not just a job. You've literally got the weight of an entire country on your shoulders. And if you want to extrapolate that out, not now,
the world.
fucked it all up, but you've got the weight of the shoulders on your world, weight of the world on your shoulders. Yeah. But yeah, I just I just don't think Vance is the guy to move MAGA forward, because I don't even think MAGA trusts fully.
Yeah, I don't know. When books I've read and stuff, Vance wasn't necessarily anybody's pick. He was sort of a surprise, right? They had other choices they probably should have gone with, and Rubio or any of these other ones could have been better choices in some ways.
Well, I think the reason Vance is vice president, I think there's two reasons. Number one, they said that Don Jr. was a big fan of his. Well, three reasons. Peter Thiel was pushing him because Peter Thiel has been his sponsor. He rose through the ranks because of Peter Thiel. And when you've got that fucking much money, you can, like we said last week, what are you going to do besides buy influence? Evidently, Don Jr. was big on Vance and caught his.
All the kids like Vance for some reason,
right? And caught his dad at the right moment. But I think the other reason is just the same reason, because Donald Trump is an idiot. But there's some ways where he's smarter. When it comes to perception, he's smart as a fox. And I think the same reason he picked Mike Pence is because neither one of those guys are going to overshadow him. Right. Yeah. Right. Nobody's going to look at Vance and go, ooh, we like him more than we like Trump. Nobody's going to look at Pence and go, ooh, we like him more than we like Trump. It wasn't going to happen because Trump is not going to share the spotlight with anybody.
No.
So I think that's why Vance.
That was even Trump's challenge with Elon. As Elon started to take more and more of the spotlight, Trump was like, that's over.
Well, yeah, Trump's like, we'll take all your government subsidies. And Elon's like, have a nice day. See you later.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're buddies again. But you notice that Elon is so much less visible in the White House than he was. But yeah,
because Elon's also knows he's up to be under a heavy scrutiny as Epstein comes out and everything else too, because he likes to just claim he didn't do anything, but he was there too.
Well, did you see that they raided his office, and the French government raided his office in France because of these AI deep fakes and all that? So yeah, he knows. We could go on and on about Elon.
I mean, this is one of those. If you could have a perfect world and you get Article 25 going and you get towards impeachment, it's not just Trump you want out after. You want to take everybody out and you want to start a war crimes tribunal. You want to talk about basically crimes against humanity and crimes of the state and
Well, and they
treason.
know it. They know it, Jim. Bannon came out this week and said if we don't win the win the midterms, we're all going to jail. They know.
Bannon's already been there, so he knows.
Well, for 5 minutes, and Trump pardoned him.
Yeah, but Steve Bannon's he's gotten smarter.
Yeah. I mean,
He
how
also knows that Trump will turn his back on you and Harvey.
well, that's the thing about a narcissist. They demand complete loyalty, but they have loyalty to no one. If they wake up one morning
as
and
we're
decide
talking
that
about this, Trump's health is still hitting front and center. His prayer breakfast meeting was very interesting this week, especially when the minister right in front of him basically prayed for his conversion on becoming a better person.
Well, the other thing, you're right, that was fucking hilarious, and God love him. God love the man, pardon the pun. God love the man for
That's
doing that.
courageous to get right up in front of him and pray
Yeah.
for him.
But I think the thing that struck me the most was the fact that Donald Trump was making fun of Mike Johnson for praying before lunch. He goes, "Come on, man, it's lunch." And you're at a prayer breakfast,
Well,
and
he
he's
never
giving-
talked about prayer. He talked about polls. He talked about his policies. He
I
never
know,
even
but-
go to a prayer breakfast.
Well, I mean, you're in front of all of these supposed Christians, and I say that because I don't know these people, but I'm just saying that's the idea. But you're in front of all these hardcore Christians, and you're giving the Speaker of the House crap for praying before lunch. Like, come on, man. That only like it was almost like being back in middle school and like you play before lunch. Come on, he's a geek.
The admission that he made about the Bible was rather so obviously. Flip back a few months and Trump's standing out there with a Bible in front of a church. Then we're selling Bibles with the Trump brand on them. And now he says, somebody said, I don't know anything about the Bible. And I probably don't know anything about the Bible. I'm thinking they're going, wow, can we just start stitching all these parts together? Because the arc of the story is tremendously fun.
Well, when they asked him in 2015 what his favorite Bible verse was, and that man looked like a deer in the headlights. And then he said, well, I don't really talk about that. That's private. Like, every Christian I have ever known, and I mean this, and I grew up around some hardcore Christians, and you said, what's your favorite Bible verse?
They get down a verse and number.
I was saying they'll give you chapter, verse, and they will spit it out. They won't just go John 3:14. Right. They'll be like, and Jesus so loved the world, or God so loved the world. Yeah, no. So, that's private. That man is no more Christian. Folks, I'm an atheist. That man is no more Christian than I am. I mean, he has no concept.
Well, I love the fact that Keith Edwards said this week he thinks he could be the Antichrist. He actually said that on his show. And I'm like, well, there you go.
Well, Jim, it's funny you said that because in 2017, I think it was, being the guy that I am, and I have to know things and I have to research things. If you go to the Bible and you look at what the Antichrist is supposed to be, man, Donald Trump checks all the boxes.
Well, absolutely.
He has put himself above God. He said he calls himself the chosen.
Yeah, do we forget that he put a picture of himself up as Pope? He's put himself up with the Bible upside down in front of a church.
Yeah.
He made that whole big scene.
Yep.
I mean, it's just, I've watched the Omen movies. I watched the one that was worse, which was the third one where he tried to become president.
Yep.
These are not unbelievable circumstances. And, it's kind of funny that those who are the most Christian, supposedly, the scales are so heavy over their eyes, they would see him as okay.
Yeah.
And that's everything you read in, you'll talk End of Times. We got a script right now that is straight out of an End of Times story.
Right. Well, it's like the people who, and it's so, I don't know when it started, but it's very popular to say so-and-so is the Antichrist. There were a lot of people who said that Obama was the Antichrist. Fine.
Right.
No, fine. Whatever. Say what you want to say. Here's a guy, and folks, take politics out of it for a minute. I'm gonna state some facts. I know if you're listening from the right, facts are painful to you, but here we go.
Well, facts are just alternate facts.
Right. Here's a man who's been married one time and is still married. Here's a man who managed to come out of 8 years of being president with no personal scandals. And I swear to God, somebody right now is screaming Fast and Furious. That was not a personal scandal. That was something that happened under his official, whatever. No personal scandals. They did everything they could do. And if you think that man got away with anything, you're a fucking idiot because they went through his trash. They went everything. On Hannity did an hour-long segment because he wore a tan suit. And if you think I'm joking, go back and look at it. It was like the worst thing that's ever happened. And now Sean Hannity is defending any horrible thing that Trump does. But they said he was the Antichrist. And when it all came out, there was go to your Bible, folks. There was nothing like Obama or not. There was nothing in there that but go to your Bible and look at Donald Trump. as objectively as you can. I'm not saying he's the Antichrist, but I'm saying that he checks all the boxes.
As Elphaba said to Galinda, look through their eyes, not yours.
There it is. There it is. So saith
Not
Jim.
that I need to quote Wicked, but there we go. So
So
with that, you got a happy moment for us this week, Chuck? Anything
Here-
happy we can talk about?
here's your happy ending. Jim, yesterday my son and I took part for the 11th year in a row in a thing called the Polar Plunge. And if you think we're insane, you're probably correct. So every year for Special Olympics, we raise money. And then the first Saturday in February, we jump at the Atlantic Ocean at Virginia Beach this year with over 3,000 people. Last year was 5,000. This year was 3,000 because we set three records. The water temperature was 37, which was a record. The wind chill when we got out was 10 degrees, which is a record. And we raised over $1.7 million for Special
Congratulations.
Olympics.
What an awesome cause to be part of.
Yes, it's the largest one on the East Coast, and we set a record. We raised more and more each year, but we raised $1.7 million.
Admirable to be part of. Congratulations.
And it's there are people right now who feel cold because I said that. There are people right now who are thinking, okay, I thought this guy was a little crazy, but he's definitely, and yes,
and my boys are retreating. You talk like this.
Well, I was gonna say you have to be a little nuts to do it, but my son and I believe in it fully, and it's really cool because what they do is they put this huge heated tent. I mean, massive. Well, it holds like 5,000 people on the beach, and everybody gets warm, and there's music, and there's food, and there's drink, and they also have a lot of the athletes in there, and it's just beautiful because you got to get yourself psyched up to go in water that cold. You really do. And just seeing the athletes with the smiles, and they make a big deal out of them. I mean, as they should, but I mean, they make a big deal, make them feel really good about being there, and people cheer for them, everything else. And it just warms your heart enough to get in that cold water. And then your heart's not warmed anymore. But no, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And with everything that's going on in the world, there are still organizations like this whose sole purpose is to make other people's lives better.
And we should never lose sight of the fact there are still good things happening out there.
Absolutely.
As bad as it may feel days, and as crazy as the talking heads and the fringe media makes things look, good stuff still happens. Americans still do good things.
Absolutely.
People do good things in general. So, we're here to bring those things forward too. And I appreciate that each week, Chuck, you find something to be a happy ending, and it's a good way to go. So, folks, that's a wrap on another episode of Life in the Baggage Claim. I'm Jim Hauk. I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Chuck Longerbeam, freezing in Charlottesville.
We thank you for coming here. We appreciate you. Give us your feedback, like, subscribe, join our community, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, folks.